All right, well, good afternoon, and welcome to another live, and in living color broadcast of Jacob's Ladder. I'm your host, Jacob Israel, and I have quite the show for all of you. A lot of things came together. I got excited when I was putting this show together because, once again, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But you here on the channel, who've been here for a while, know that already. So let's enter the haunted house where the speaker needs to be named. It's going to be this is going to be a challenging show for a lot of people. I hope that you got your big boy and big girl pants on. We're entering into some uncharted waters. That's right. And we are going to really take it head on, and we are going to we're going to blow the lid off this thing. This thing, by the way, that is out of control. This thing, by the way, that I've been warning people about for a while. You know what's happening with the speaker? A little while ago, when everybody was worried about putting their devices in microwaves and devices in Faraday cages and all sorts of aluminum foil bags that they bought online from their favorite fearmongers on YouTube, and I'm not diminishing it because there's nothing wrong with being a little safe. Not diminishing it. I just don't like seeing people being taken advantage of. This show, hopefully, will help you to not be taken advantage of. Hello, everyone in the live chat. A lot of people here already. Wow. Hit the like. Will you? Hit the like. Let's take this piece by piece. Can you hear me okay? Is everything good? Good. We got a lot of people here already. I love it. So, like 4 days ago, I did a little bit of a show. And it was on the 30th of September, called The October Surprise is Here. The 220 alert, a government shakeup, and a new day. There is a new day that's coming, people. Oh my goodness, by the end of this show, you're going to be so excited. I'm so excited. You know why I'm excited? Because once again, I have another show where I can offer a little bit of credibility. When I come on here and I say all these things that I don't know what the heck I'm doing, then I come back like a month later or a week later or a year later and I'm like, hey, now it makes sense. This is one of those shows. So, I did a show because I was concerned about all of you, worried about what was coming. There was a alert that was going to go out. You probably got the alert, right? You got it a little early? You get it like me? I was watching Disney. I was on my phone a lot yesterday. I was on X a lot. This is why I wear this. I have a serious issue with a tendon, and I'm worried it's going to cause like nerve damage. Going into the doctor again. But when I work, I hold the phone like this. So I edit everything on my phone. So literally, I am hurting myself for all of you. Could you give me a like? Rhonda gave me a super chat. Rhonda cares about my well-being. Thank you, Rhonda. I'm her favorite meatball, just so you know, if you want to know. That's what I am. And I'm also God's champion. So are you. We're witnesses. What do? What does a witness do? It says, hey, I saw this. And this show is going to be one of those shows. 4 days ago, I do this. It was a great video. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and check it out. 4 days later, literally, Kevin McCarthy ousted as Speaker of the House. We talked about Kevin McCarthy. See him there on the thumbnail? I said a government shakeup was coming. I've been talking about this government shakeup for a while. And of course, now we know Jim Jordan has shook up the House because it looks like he wants to be House Speaker. Weird, right? Weird. It's going to get so much weirder. I'm so happy. A lot of people are here. Thank you. And half of you have hit the like. The other half of you, I love you. I wish you would hit the like too, because you know what it does? It tells YouTube, hey, you should tell more people about it. It's an exciting show. He's talking in falsetto. I use my voice a lot. My voice, it gets a little rough. I get a little Paul Begley after a while. You know, Paul? If anybody knows Paul well, will you say, hey, look, I'd like to have Paul on the show? I don't know. A lot of people think that we're related. He was talking about the terrible earthquake that just happened in Japan. A lot of shakeup going on in the world and outside of the world. Thank you, Kimberly, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Take a look at this right here. Okay, so Kevin McCarthy, he's gone. They voted him out. The gates of hell, not the gates of hell, excuse me. I've been doing shows about the gates of hell. Matt Gaetz, which I think is cool, right? Itchy Trigger Finger says, God bless Matt Gaetz. Listen, anybody doing the Lord's will, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent, I say God bless them because they're doing what God wants. By the end of this show, you will see, without a reasonable doubt, you will know that God's in charge and you'll be encouraged. This is an encouraging one. I'm always here to encourage people. I'm not here to get people spooked out. Actually, I was fighting against it for the last couple of weeks. I've taken some wounds. Some people that have watched me for a long time, some people that have supported me, they were like, oh no. I think we should still be safe, and that's okay. That's all right. But before we get there, let's talk about what happened. When he left, who took over? He left behind, and this was like super secretive. You see, this is news. You're getting the news even from me, and I'm not a news channel. I'm a meatball channel. I'm a speculator channel. And he gave it to this guy, Patrick McHenry. Who's Patrick McHenry? I don't know. I don't know who he is. A lot of people are like, who's this dude? Where's he come from? Where does he come from? He's in charge now. And you know the first thing he did, besides like when Gates got him ousted, Patrick McHenry, he's the interim until there's a new speaker voted in. We didn't expect this. We didn't know that this was going to happen. We were worried about a government shutdown, remember? If you go back to that show that I did September 30th and just watch it, it'll be like, wow, that's crazy because look what just happened. We didn't expect McCarthy to be, we didn't expect any of that. He made it happen. He made sure that the government was not shut down. He made sure the troops were paid. He said this to everybody. He made a big deal out of this. But wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. So he hit the bricks. And the first thing that happened was with the old Mr. Patrick McHenry. He kicked Nancy Pelosi out of her office. The office, Cass, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're enjoying the ride because I'm enjoying the ride. Are you enjoying the ride? You got to let me know. You got to let me know in the comments section. Enjoying the ride is like, imagine a huge tsunami wave, and you're like, I got faith. And you're like one of those crazy surfers that are like excited for the storm because you're looking forward to riding that wave because it's exhilarating. That's the day we're in. That's the day we're in. So Pelosi kicked out of her office. Get out. Get out. McCarthy's coming. He wants you out. He wants you out of the seat. A lot of people thought that it was McHenry that did this, but it wasn't McHenry. It was all along. It was McCarthy. But I'll tell you one thing. Never seen a speaker handle the gavel like Patrick McHenry. Let's take a look at this dude. I'm telling you, man, when he hits that gavel, he means it. Let's just take a look. Him wearing his bow tie, 40-something years old. I think he's like 47, 48 years old. Looking sharp. Look at me.
Chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Oh, my God. Look at that again. Let's look at that again. Let's look at this. Let's take a look at this guy.
of the chair.
Oh my goodness gracious. Why did he hit it so hard? Can anybody tell me? Oh God, that looks like it hurts. Isn't that right, G squared? Wow, thank you. That's an amazing super chat. Holy macaroni, G squared. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate it. Do me a favor. Hit the like. Can you imagine hitting that like that? Let me just do that one more time. He's like, I'm just going to, boom, that's the only time I'm going to get to do it. I'm going to do it right. This dude, holy macaroni. That's exciting though, right? You got the gavel. You're like, this is my moment. You probably wanted to, you know when you dunk on a rim, in the NBA, well, they want to dunk hard because they want the backboard to break. I bet he wanted to break that gavel. I bet he said to his wife, he says, this is my moment. I don't even know if he's married. This is my moment. I'm going to break that gavel. I'm going to show people. I'm going to show people how it's done, how it's supposed to be done. Yeah, I'll call you to order. Psh, right? He's dunking on McCarthy, dunking on Gates. Can you tell I'm excited about this show? I'm excited. This whole Speaker of the House thing, it's a monkey wrench. That's what I've been calling it. I've been calling it a monkey wrench. We get a lot of people here. Thank you very much. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it when you do that. It helps me. I don't know if you know this, but YouTube doesn't really share my channel around. It's a bummer. You would think that I would be getting a lot of subs every month. I get like 200 subs. It's ridiculous. I used to get like thousands of subs every month. I don't know what it is about this year. I don't think I'm somehow failing all of you. I think I'm working harder than ever before, and I think that it's more exciting and more fun. But for whatever reason, most of the subs I get are all of you that are like, I say, check your subs. And then you check and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the 17th time I've been unsubbed. Check to make sure that you're subscribed. And if you are new to the channel, I come off, I'm a little much. I get it. But I'll tell you what, I wear on you. And I start to make you feel good. And you start to feel like you're home when you talk to me. Like you're meeting your crazy Italian, Irish, family member that gets so loud for no apparent reason. There's a reason to get loud now, though, because with the speaker gone, see, here's the thing. Do you know why? Who knows why? Tell me in a live chat. Do you all know why? Do you know why that McCarthy was booted? He did like a side deal. They didn't want to have that, $6 billion go to the bird, the crane. Didn't want that to happen. That was like kind of like a no-go. They were like, no, we're not doing it. And I guess he, on the down low, he made a deal. He made a side deal. We'll do this. And everything went through. Government, 45 days, it was extended. That's what my show was about. It was like a side deal. And then the truth came out, and Matt Gaetz was like, that's it. You're gone, dude. You're gone as fast as the mousse that I used a month ago that didn't make my hair look super, super cool. Because to be honest, Matt Gaetz, he's got cool hair. I ran out of hairspray. I don't even use hairspray anymore. Honestly, I'm 52 at this point. I'm not that concerned with the way the world is about how my hair looks. But I want to look my best for you, Matt Gaetz. He's got good hair. That's one thing you could say to him, right? Well, the House Speaker turmoil has now imperiled the future of, funding going to that bird. The crane. That's it. Jake Malone says he was booted for not bringing single subject appropriation bills. I think you meant bills, but you know what? AI autocorrects everything that we write now, and it's so annoying. I believe that AI has gotten worse, or maybe it's just doing it to mess with us. The autocorrect is out of control. It's out of control. But this is like a thing. Like Biden is expressing a lot of worry about the funding. He's not so worried about He's not so worried about the fact that like New York City is overrun and like people can't afford to pay their bills. He's not worried about like the homelessness crisis or the fact that so many people there's like such a big, it's like an epidemic of people, or the crisis of, people ODing on a regular basis. He's not worried about that. He's worried about the funding that goes to the bird, the crane. It's interesting. It's interesting. You would think that he'd probably be a little more concerned about our country, but I think that's part of the plan. I think that's part of the storyline. So he's really upset because, so now here's the thing, right? So is there like a master plan? Is there a master plan? Do you think that like McCarthy's in on something? Once again, I'm a speculator. I got no inside info. When people send me emails, said, "Oh, I'm in the know," I say, send it to somebody else, because I just want to deal with, my heart, my intuition, and my God, and all of you. I can't trust people or take people's words on things. Otherwise, I'll be doing shows that will scare you. It will scare you. Whew. It's a heavy day that we're in. A heavy day. A day that needs to be unburdened. A day where we need to let the fears and pains of the past go. And I think that it's possibly coming. But because of this whole thing, do you think that maybe there was like a deal? He makes a side deal on the side. They're like, we're going to cut you out so that the side deal doesn't go through. Government's still funded. We get a new speaker. It's like a game theory, right? Where you start to work out the ins and the outs of this stuff in your head. It's interesting. It's fun. Or maybe not. maybe it's not part of the plan. You got to tell me live in the live chat right now or in the comments section. What do you think? Do you think that this is all some sort of big ploy? You think this is, as they say, 5D chess? Huh? You think that? You think that? Who would be behind it? That's right. Mr. MAGA himself, the wizard. The wizard, who, by the way, do you know who Dom Lucre is? Lucre, every time I see that last name, Lucre, I think of money, like filthy lucre. I don't know why I think about this, but this is just something that I think about. But Don Lucre, he has a huge channel. I mean, he's huge on X too, like in a major way. This guy is very, very, very influential. He's very, he's got a pretty cool site, and he shared, "This is the most accurate court sketch of all time, because nobody could have made it this far alone." A lot of that stuff going around, right? Where Jesus is right next to President Trump. Now, I'm not going to discount that because I believe God's in charge of everything. So, God's in charge of everything. All right, maybe he's next to him. Maybe he's next to him. Maybe people are setting him up to be, kind of worshipped. Maybe not. Once again, I leave this to you, because what do I know? But the interesting thing is they're talking about a court sketch, so I'm like, aren't you sketchy? Like a little sketchy? Because, he is like, supposedly has like the ring of the secret societies, and, there was all sorts of stuff with this guy, which no wonder. No wonder. He's got like, like millions of people follow him. Maybe, who knows? Maybe, who knows? But here's a weird thing. Before the Speaker of the House went down, before there was a problem with the Speaker, guess what the old Jacob did? Probably all of you here that are watching. We got like 1,000 people watching. I wish more of you would hit the like. I appreciate it if you do. You probably know I did a show. Who will be Speaker? Back on January 6th of 2023. Exactly 9 months in between the dates. Now, today's news is Trump is actually considering a trip to Congress before the speaker election. The speaker election, which is coming up. It's going to be very cool. This is very cool because it's very exciting, all of this stuff. So I wrote this little thing because if you look on the bottom where the arrow is pointing, on January 8th, I wrote, who got the speaker vote? Who made the speaker, if you will? Stop thinking he isn't in control and start thinking perhaps it's all the show. If you remember correctly, McCarthy really kind of got his whole, it all worked through because Trump endorsed him. Isn't that right, Lauren? Thank you very much for the 111. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, Trump endorsed him. Trump said, put McCarthy through. Trump said that. He made him. And now like all Trump guys are like, no, he's terrible. So I wrote this little thing, like, could you imagine if Trump becomes a speaker? This is not, I will be surprised if this does happen. If Trump becomes a speaker. I don't think it's going to happen. It would be great if it did, because I think it would be so exciting. I'd have so many shows to do. But let's for a second imagine that Trump does become speaker because they want him to be. Now let's imagine when he gets there, what happens is he brings up the whole 25th Amendment deal, which is something that I talked about when I did a show before the last election where I said Trump was going to go possibly not win because of that silly dream, where I talked about the fatal head wound revealed and the 25th Amendment. If he was speaker and he brought up 25th Amendment and then Biden's taken away. Now here's where it gets weird. Did you know that Kamala Harris is an anchor baby? You know what an anchor baby is? So the parents were not citizens. They came to the country and they weren't U.S. citizens, and she was born here. So she was what's called an anchor baby. Now, according to the law, supposedly, because I read up on this, and once again, I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're just here for entertainment purposes, right? I really just want to encourage you to pray. That's it. But let me tell you a little bit about this. It's they say that they can become president. They say that there is legal means for an anchor baby to become president. But you could see the argument, right? Because you could have people that come from another country that were possibly, we'll say, communist, right? Ooh, so scary. I sound like John Fetterman. That's what he did. He goes, ooh, I'm so scared when they asked him about Biden. Could you imagine you have an enemy of the United States sending over 2 of their assets? They have a child there, and then they raise that child to be an asset, and then the asset then becomes vice president. Not saying that happened. Not saying that Kamala's an asset. Not at all. I'm saying that could be an argument. Do you want that person to be president? So there's a reason why you have to be a U.S. citizen, naturally born. I don't know the rules. I'm just saying this is game theory. So he becomes speaker, calls 25th Amendment into question, then Biden's gone. You make the argument, you bring it to the courts, Supreme Court rules with you. I guess it's the Supreme Court. I don't know. I'm not that smart of a guy. Some court somewhere rules she can't be president. Guess who becomes president? The Trumpster. That's why it would be interesting. That's why I thought it was interesting that 9 months exactly from when this went down, I was asking the question, who will be speaker? Now, if you remember correctly, back then, they wanted, a couple of people to be, to smash the gavel, like Patrick McHenry. Nobody smashed the gavel like Patrick McHenry, he'll go down in history as the gavel smasher, for sure. I think we should make that a hashtag. I do. I don't think Trump's going to be the guy, though. I mean, I just don't think he's going to be the guy. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it'll be interesting. So I'm kind of putting myself out on a limb here because it kind of seems like everybody wants that to happen. And it's like, if you're Trump and you've dealt with so much nonsense from these people, right? You probably want to come in and start to, start to shuffle the papers and really mess with the deck a little bit. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I think that we're in for an October surprise, which is what I said, but who knows? So I said game theory, Trump becomes speaker, Biden no longer can serve. Arguments made, anchor baby Kamala can't serve as president. Who becomes president? Trump. 9 months ago, I discussed this. Can't be a coincidence, right? Hashtag God. That's the way I roll. It's the way I roll. But I think there's more to the story. I think that's too easy. I think that's too predictable. Because what do I do, right? What do? I don't got a voice in my head saying, tell the world that this is going to happen. I don't get a voice in my head. I get ideas. I'm a speculator, right? I see a trailer for a movie. I'm like, this is what's going to happen in the movie. I'm just taking the pieces of the puzzle and I'm trying to put them together for you. So far, so good. So far, so good. There's this guy, Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, who's got like, how many people in the live chat know who Jim Jordan is? Anybody? He's got a track record, right? Trump's guy. The two of them are very close, supposedly. What do I know? I know that he had a little scandal going on because he's known as a wrestler. He was a wrestler. Like a collegiate wrestler. He was kind of a tough guy. He was no joke. And he was a coach, and so there was like a scandal attached to him because I guess these 6 wrestlers, they were abused by a doctor, and they say that Jordan turned an eye. But that's just part of the story. So when the speaker thing went down, I went to X like I always do. I'm at the gym. I'm praying. I'm like, oh, what should I do now? What should I say? What's going to happen next? Right, Lord? That's what I say. So I put out this weird little tweet. I say, Jim Jordan, I say, just because Jim in English means Jacob. Jim Jordan for speaker. What do you say? This is why my wife doesn't want me to talk to people when we go out to dinner and stuff. But I had this vibe. I don't know why. I was doing the elliptical machine without using my hands because I'm worried about nerve damage now. I'm going to see the doctor in a week. We'll figure it out. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And you know what? I'm grateful for it. The Lord keeps us where he needs. He kept Paul. He was like, Paul's like, God, I want this thorn removed. And God's like, my grace is sufficient. Just deal with it. And I'm dealing with it. So I put out on October 4th at 11:12. I was really bummed because when I saw it was 11:12, I'm like, how much cooler would have this been if it was 11:11, right? Well, what do you know? Here's what's weird about this. If you look to the left-hand side of the screen, upper left-hand side, you will see that Mr. Jordan, he... Back in January, when I was doing that show, he wanted no part of the speaker. No part of it. He was like, I don't want nothing to do with the speaker. No, thank you. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. Not going to happen. No chance, Jim Jordan says, will I be speaker despite peeling off McCarthy's support, because he pulled off some McCarthy support. He was like... He wasn't too thrilled with McCarthy. So 9 months ago, they wanted to make him speaker. And he's like, no, I don't want to be speaker. That's all anybody remembers. I don't want that job. So why on earth does this flippin' dude put out Jim Jordan, Sean. Why, Sean? Thank you for the super chat, by the way, brother. Why would I just put out Jim Jordan? Just because of the name. That's the reason, because of the name. Do you know that Jim in, let me see if I have this so I can just show you so I'm not lying to you. I don't even know if I have it here. I think I put it somewhere. All right. If I didn't, I didn't. Jim literally means supplanter. It's the same name as Jacob. So when you hear James or you see Jim, it's Jacob. It's just a different way of saying it. Supplanter. When you see Jordan, what do you think of? You think of the Jordan River. Who was baptizing in the Jordan River? Right? Who was baptizing? John. Other people baptized in Jordan. Jordan, very significant. Crossing over into the promised land. Big deal. Who will speak for this generation? Jim Jordan. That's the reason why I put it out. That's why I said Jim Jordan. I say, just because Jim in English for Jacob, Jim Jordan for speaker. What do you say? Now here's where it gets weird. This guy who says there's no way in heck that I would ever be speaker, exactly 22 minutes after I posted that, 22! Let's just think about that for a second, shall we? So, of course, I say that's interesting. What a coinky-dinky-do. 22. Talking about it on the channel a lot. That emergency alert. Ooh. It was supposed to go off at what, 2? 20? 22? Remember back on September 6th when I told everybody, I said, you're going to start seeing 22 everywhere. And you've seen 22 everywhere. Why? Who knows? But here we are, 22 minutes later. Jim Jordan, look at it, 11:34 a.m. Look at mine, 11:12 a.m. He puts in this beautiful letter. The guy that 9 months ago was like, no way will I ever, no way, and not even if the gates of hell come against me. Now he's like, please support me, please support me. Monkey wrench. That's what I call him. Monkey wrench. But then I start to think, what would be even crazier than that? And I'll be honest, I don't know which way this is going. I don't got any inside scoop. I have a feeling it could be Jim Jordan. I don't think anybody else put it out there because, of course, he said there's no way. And he didn't say he was running until 22 minutes later. But I remember this. I remember this about a year ago. There's Elon at the office of the speaker. Mr. X himself meeting with McCarthy. At 3:23 a.m. on January 5th of 2023, he said Kevin McCarthy should be speaker. And the people listened. And McCarthy became the speaker. And now, supposedly, he's just a terrible, terrible person. Because he really messed up. And when I was thinking about all this is on September 17th, I just put out this random post. I had a feeling there was going to be some kind of a mutiny in Congress. I said, mutiny, mutiny, the headlines will cry. A Judas, a liar, and a thief to be tried. And what is the news? McCarthy loses gavel in far-right mutiny. Mutiny, mutiny. The headlines are crying. It's going to be Trump. Is it going to be Jordan? Who's it going to be? Who's your speaker? Tell me in a live chat. Vanessa says Jordan or Trump. I don't think it's going to be Trump. I got to be honest. I think it would be really cool if it was Elon. Just because, think about how crazy this world is. We would know without a shadow of a doubt that we've jumped the shark. This reality has jumped the shark. It's no longer to be trusted. That's what we would say if Elon was in charge. Okay, so this is where we're going to get a little out there. This is where, when I'm doing the show and I'm going back and I'm starting to create these slides, because every slide you look at, I individually create. It takes a lot of work and effort. That's why it's so appreciated when you share the channel around, or you just hit the like, or you leave me a comment and you let me know. I know I can't respond to everybody, but I do respond. And I do look every day, and I appreciate it. But this is where it gets out there. Okay? So on September 30th, I did this show, and if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see zombies in the background. There's a reason, because I was talking once again about that, that supposed signal that was going to go down, and I was going to try to keep all of you from getting all, screwy. But look at the title. And it was streamed live on September 30th, 2023. The October surprise is here. And as you'll see in the thumbnail, ironically, I didn't do this on purpose. I didn't got any inside scoop. This is, once again, all these things that happen here. I'm a meatball. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just at the gym working out. When I create these thumbnails, I'm doing cardio for like a half an hour, and I'm just, whatever I pray, and whatever comes to me, I just put there. A government shakeup? An October surprise? Shut them down? And you look at that thumbnail, you see October 11th. Well, that's interesting. Why did I put that there? It certainly wasn't about the fact that they will be bringing in the new House Speaker on October 11th. It's just strange. That was the backup date for the alert. And in the show, I said, October 11th, something big is going to happen. I feel like that's the day. If you go back, you want to watch it, you can go back. If you go to you go to YouTube, Jacob Israel, look under the live section and just click on that show, and you'll be able to enjoy it. But what are the odds that 4 days earlier, I talk about a shakeup that's coming? And now the shakeup's here. Jim Jordan shakes up the race for the House Speaker. October 11th, when the new Speaker comes in. I did a show 9 months earlier, who will be Speaker? I love having faith. I really do. My life is interesting. So, now look at what I wrote. Maybe I need to blow this up. Let me see if I can. Take a look at this tweet, this zeet, that I put out on September 29th. Kevin McCarthy writes, after meeting with the House Republicans this evening, it's clear the misguided Senate bill has no path forward and is dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. The House will continue to work around the clock to keep the government open and prioritize the American people. And then what do I write? This just in, the next assault on your psyche is en route. When Kevin McCarthy put that zeet out, who would have thought he'd be replaced just a couple of days later? I certainly didn't. That's why I find it odd that I write these weird things, because the next assault happened. We can't get through a week without something major that just is ridiculous, tearing up our psyche. Government's a mess. Migration's, immigrants a mess. Banking's a mess. Everything's a mess. And to add on to that, you got a lot of people that were going to tell people that they had inside intel. They said, it gets me mad when people lie. I've worked in Christian TV for a long time. I've worked in big time TV. Nobody ever liked me in any of the places I worked. It got very uncomfortable. I was always kind of like politely asked to leave, which is exactly what God wants so that I could be here. But I will tell you one thing. I've yet to meet people that are in positions of influence that I consider to be like trustworthy and moral and upright. And I have God-given intuition, just like you, that when people come on that are like on, I don't know, like the Gaia network, and I'm not putting Gaia down. I don't know. I don't watch them. And they say, I am just a messenger. They have told me that I must share this with you. It is your free will what you do with this, but on October 4th at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to become a zombie. That's basically what a lot of people were saying. This one guy, Jason, now that was what I talked about on that show, where I wanted all of you to not worry about it, because let me tell you something. I have a record of stuff. I got ideas of what's coming. I think God would have maybe given me an idea. Believe me, there's nothing wrong with being safe. But my concern with that whole signal thing was, like God forbid I did that. And then Ethan misses the bus. He's trying to call Dad, but my phone's off, right? And I said, my phone's going to be off. But that doesn't matter. How's that going to help Ethan? Then he decides to walk home. And then he gets lost or he gets hit by a car. Yeah, but there's like so many things that could happen. You turn off you shut yourself down for an hour. So many things that could happen. That's what I talked about on the show prior to that alert going out. I just didn't feel like anything was happening. I just didn't feel like it, and I felt like it was insincere, and it angered me. Because these people, they get a lot of play. Like those videos, woo, viral. I haven't had a viral video. Can't tell you how long. The only subscribers I get are because of you. Do you want to support this? Then you share it. That's it. So all it takes. If you're ashamed of it, I get it. It's fine. Just at least hit the like. But these videos about people going, So I started telling everybody not to worry about these things. I was upset. Back on, when was it? This was September 24th. I said, and I used the word gabagool. I talked about this on the show too. I know gabagool's not a great word. It's capicola. It's just a deli meat. That's it. I want to say worse, because when I see people that I know are scaring you, people that I care about, and freaking you out, probably putting you in harm's way, it bothers me. On October 4th in the morning, High Impact Flicks put that out. You could tell that he wasn't buying it either. If you don't know anything about his channel, you can check his channel out too. He has a big channel. He's an OG just like me. And I wrote, when this does not happen, you are a zombie if you ever listen to these people again. I know that sounds harsh, and I'm not putting you down. But what I'm saying is, if you're putting your faith in somebody that's blatantly lying to you, and I don't mean like people that are like, hey, be safe. Hey, I have an eye. Listen, I talk about 22 on the channel, right? I think I was probably one of the first people to bring up 22. I think it was happening at 22. You don't think that I was like a little concerned? But I prayed about it. And I'm like, this is going to be another one of them honeypots. This is going to be another thing that's going to take away from channels like mine. Take away from people that are sincere. And they're going to profit, and they're going to do great. And you know what they're going to do when it doesn't happen? They're going to put the date out. Oh no, just activated everything. That's what they'll say. It's activated now. It's not going to happen for another 9 months. And then when that happens, it's like our calculations were wrong. You've never heard me come on here and say, I have inside information. You've never heard me say, the Lord has told me you better do this or else. You hear me say, hey, I'm sharing a weird dream. I'm sharing, I think this is what it means. I don't know. You hear me just sharing my heart, being honest with you. I can't help that it happens again and again and again, and it actually happens on, like literally. Maybe more people should do that. Just be honest and frank. People were even trying to start like trouble between me and Alex. Donut didn't do that. Donut was, just like anybody else. He's awesome. I love this guy. He wouldn't go out of his way to harm people. And I listened to his show, and that's not what he was doing. People were trying to like put me against him or something like, you're going to call him out too? He didn't do that. He didn't do what this gabagool did. He didn't. I mean, you got to tell me, am I out of my mind? You would think that after I told everybody and I was doubling down on it, you would think people would be like saying something. You know what they're saying? Oh, you're attacking me, or oh, you're making fun of me, or like I had to like go behind the scenes and try to share my heart and my sincerity with a bunch of people. I'm so glad I did, because now I know like 3-4 new people who I'm so grateful. I was getting publicly blasted for coming against people that were lying. They were saying, I have information. I'm just a messenger. Take it with what you want. That is being shared on, info wars. They're going to put that out there? Respectable. You don't see me wearing a NASA shirt. Why? Because I know that all of you and a lot of people know that is sketchy. Just like Dom Luker's sketch. Sketchy. I really do care about what I do here. I really do care about all of you. I love what I'm doing. I'm barely getting by. I know it seems like I'm not. I'm barely getting by. By the grace of God. Because if I wasn't just barely getting by, maybe I wouldn't be as passionate and as sincere. So, my question to a lot of you watch this guy? Is he going to apologize? People were defending him. They put their stuff in like tinfoil, and they spent money to block a signal. Newsflash. They've already created the zombies. We got to stop listening and stop being, these blind sheep being led by blind guides. We end up in the ditch. We need to pray and ask God, should I be putting my phone in the dryer? Should I be doing that? There may be a time when you should. When that alert went out, it wasn't the time. I knew it wasn't the time. And you can't tell me, oh, well, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm not having it. He wasn't saying it was going to happen in the future. He was saying there was going to be like the purge and it was going to happen now. That's what a lot of people were saying. So what benefit did they have to the community of people that want to share the love of God, want to share the truth? Forget about even just the love of God, which is the most important thing ever, but just people that want to share the truth. People that want to help people. All over the news. This is today. Trolls mark themselves safe from zombie apocalypse. By the way, that image that they use right there, that was the image that I had in my thumbnail. How cool is that? I put out a bunch of tweets yesterday. That's why my arm is killing me today. Like literally burning. It hurts so bad. When people don't turn into bloodthirsty zombies after this alert, which happens today or the 11th, which I think would be way cooler, because for whatever reason, I thought the 11th was going to be a big day. I don't know why. Now I know why. Speaker. That's when the new speaker comes in on the 11th. How crazy is that? Will you stop putting your faith in people who claim to have some inside info? Who scared you into putting your electronic devices away? Dig deeper. You know what I'm talking about. Are they sincere? Dig Deeper says, I'm sincere. I'm hoping that after a couple of years of watching me that you get it. I try to be. People were turning off their phones. Not a big deal. People were, not a big deal. It's not stupid. I'm not calling anybody stupid. If I was nervous, I would have done the same thing. I would have contacted all my loved ones. I would have said, hey, whatever you do, I'm shutting things down. Call 911. Don't call me. I don't know how 911 helps Ethan if he got lost and he needed someone to pick him up. I don't know how it helps, your mother who fell down the stairs, who lives right next door. You call 911. It takes about 30 minutes as opposed to calling you and you walk over and help her. I'm not making fun of anybody. Good grief. I do silly things all the time. All the time. When the smoke was coming, I spent like $200 on face masks for my family because I was like, this could be our future. I get nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. This day that we're in, it's a fiery, fiery time. Why wouldn't you be nervous? But now this is where it gets interesting. Because that alert that went off didn't go off at 2:20. Didn't go off at 2:20 at all. It went off at 2:18. Scared me. Like I said, I was trying to just get everybody to relax. And I got to tell you something. I was excited to see what happened. I was excited. I don't know why. I was just excited to see that nothing happened so that I could say things and then see how everybody reacts. But 2 minutes early, 2 minutes before the warning, it went off. And Americans reacted to these emergency alerts with jokes and fake warnings and all sorts of stuff. It was quite interesting. Especially if you think about the fact that, my goodness, there were a lot of people that didn't even have their phones and stuff on. So they didn't even know because it was shocking. I was expecting it to happen at 2:20, happens at 2:18. But do you know what else happens at 2:18? This is weird. At the same time this is going down, the speaker's going down. Guess how many votes the speaker needs? 218. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, 2:18 Eastern Standard Time, but it's like 1:18 elsewhere. But all the articles are saying 2:18 it went off. And 2:18 is what the speaker needs. Interesting. 2:18 also happens to be the anointing with oil of the dead, the zombies. And do you know what a 2-minute warning is? 2-minute warning happens in basketball around the end of the game. 2-minute warning is a suspension of play. We're going to suspend play. It occurs when there's only 2 minutes left in the game clock. Near the end of the second and fourth quarters and overtime, there is a 2-minute warning. Everybody, we're in the end game now. It's a 2-minute warning. Who would have thought that this thing would have gone off? Who would have thought that 2 minutes would be like a viral thing on X? Not this guy. Not this guy. But I got to tell you something. It makes me excited. It makes me excited because I know something is a-coming. I warned you. I warned you the October surprise was here. I said a government shakeup and a new day was near. 4 days later, Kevin McCarthy ousted as Speaker of the House. October 11th, on that moon in the background, created by ChatGPT, by the way, that's when we find out about the new speaker in this haunted house. Jim Jordan is shaking up things. The wrestler. The supplanter. How insane. Gonna have a Jacob and Jordan? The speaker? That would be cool. Because, of course, as I said earlier, it's the Latin form of Jacob. It means, get this is crazy, supplanter. Do you know what a supplanter is? A supplanter is somebody that takes your seat. That's pretty cool. The supplanter. Someone's on the throne. The supplanter comes over and says, it's my kingdom now. That's what Jacob did with Esau. That's what Christ is doing with all of us. And that's what Jim Jordan is doing in the house. And you know what? He's also discussed this with the Trumpster. I think the storyline would be cool. It would be more exciting and more interesting if it was Trump. It would be more exciting and more interesting if it was Elon. Spiritually speaking, I think that if it's Jim Jordan, we could have, maybe like a lot of hope. I don't know. I could be wrong. Do you know what Jordan means? It means to flow down. Flow down, like to flow down the river. This is where everybody went to see John the Baptist. This is where everyone went when they finally left their wandering in the wilderness. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate the super chat. He puts a ladder in that. I love it. I love it. We're all climbing the ladder. We're all climbing the ladder. Crossing the Jordan is a turning point on the way to freedom, people. The waters of the Jordan represent freedom from oppression, breakthrough, deliverance. In Deuteronomy 30:18 through 20, the Israelites were reaching the last leg of their journey. 2-minute warning! Come on now. Who else has a show like this on YouTube? Why am I not reaching more people? The only reason? YouTube doesn't want me to reach more people. The only reason this can change is if you hit the like button, you leave a comment, and you share the channel with your friends. Just say, check this out. This guy's crazy, but it's funny, it's entertaining, it's exciting, and I got nothing to worry about. I didn't wrap my phone in tinfoil. And if you did, it's still cool. I still love you, and I don't think less of you. Believe me. I wrap my head in tinfoil quite a bit. I don't. But I would if it made you feel better. Listen, Deuteronomy 30, this is the chapter we're entering into. This is the thing. Because, in every single religion, they have these, what they call these prophetic end time signs. In all of these major religions, Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, whatever you want to call it, they have an end time story, all linked to the original, which is basically ours. It's all our story. And in that end time story, because of course Deuteronomy is a big part of Christianity, it's a big part of Judaism, and it's a big part of Islam as well. 3 major ones. Hinduism has a whole other thing, but once again, if you marry the two, very simple. Very similar. So, Israel's been wandering and wandering and wandering. God promised, I'm going to give you a promised land. When the flood came, back in Noah's day, only a couple entered the ark. When Israel was set free from Egypt, all of Israel left with the treasure of Egypt. Wasn't fun. It was probably scary and terrifying. But they had God by day as a cloud leading them. Where do we go? Leading them by day by the cloud. And a pillar of fire by night. Fire symbolizing hard times by night, ignorance. Ironically, they wandered for 40 years. Perhaps maybe God wanted this to happen because it wasn't that long of a journey if you look at it. Not at all. But for 40 years, and what is 40 years? It is symbolic of pregnancy, birth. 40 weeks, 40 days, 40 nights. But at the end of that, they enter into the promised land. They cross the Jordan. They crossed the Jordan. Not a lot of people didn't do it. Some people stayed. Joshua was the one that led them in. Moses, he wasn't allowed. He was still stuck in the wilderness. A lot of people are going to be stuck in the wilderness. It's okay. Joshua hugged them on their neck. They didn't want to go into the promised land because promised land, it's like, we've already had enough. We'll just stay where we are. Promised land's not the easiest place. But it's a place that we need to go. And we need to enter it boldly, not worried about the giants that are in the land that are going to be like, hey, I need to scan your eyeball before you go to the Walmart or the Piggly Wiggly. And not worry about the giants. God's going to provide a way. God will provide probably a whole other way of doing business. A whole new day is opening up. In the book of Revelation, the Lord said when all the vials were poured out on the earth, to seal those that loved, to seal those that forgave and were compassionate, to seal them. The grass, don't touch them, don't hurt them. But the rest of the world's going to burn. And the rest of the world seems to be burning. Scary. Scary. I want to show you how interesting this is. We're going to go back to Deuteronomy 29, the very end. Someone wrote, Jimmy Buffett will be missed. When did Jimmy Buffett die? Did Jimmy Buffett just pass away? Did Jimmy Buffett just pass away? What is Jimmy Buffett known for? Let me just look this up. I'm sorry. I know that this is disturbing. Someone wrote Jimmy Buffett, and it kind of bums me out because I think he's a... or did he die a while ago? I'm going to be bummed if he died a while ago and I didn't know. Oh, good grief. Yeah, he died a while ago. All right, I guess I should have known that. Sorry. That wasn't that helpful. But yes, I guess Jimmy Buffett will be missed, even though that he may not be the best guy either. All right, let's take a look at this because this is where it gets very interesting. I want to point you to this right here. All right. Uh-oh. Hang on. Make sure I transfer it over. Good. Let me go back. I feel like a novice right now. All right. Let's go to here. Here we go. Your children who follow you in later generations, that's today, and foreigners who come from distant lands, that's today, clearly, especially in New York City, will see the calamities that have fallen on the land and the diseases with which the Lord has afflicted. The whole land will be burning waste of salt and sulfur. Nothing is planted. Thank you, Monsanto. Nothing is sprouting. Thank you, Mr. Gates. No vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me just pull this up I'm going to just read it so you can look at my face. Sometimes people, it's hard for you to read, so I'm just going to read to you. All the nations will ask, why has the Lord done this in the land? Why all of the wildfires? Why this fierce burning? And the answer will be, from God, it is because this people have abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the covenant he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt. They went off and worshiped other gods. They bowed down to them, gods they didn't know, gods that newly came up. Like they even created their own gods and they worshiped them, you know? How funny is that? Sad. It's true. In furious anger and in great wrath, the Lord uprooted them from their land and thrust them into another land. That's happening, as it is now. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow the words of his law. And tell me in the live chat what God's law is. It's to love. Love God, love others. You fulfill the law. So if you love, if you're kind-hearted, you're compassionate, if you love, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. Let me just show you. We're gonna go to 30 now. This is the prosperity after turning to the Lord. So what's going to happen if you decide, you know what? I'm going to pray. I'm going to ask God. I'm not going to go to a church. I'm not going to go to a religion. I'm going to just have a one-on-one, mano-a-mano talk with the creator of all, who loves me so much, and I just forgot. When you turn to the Lord, prosperity follows. When all these blessings and curses that I've set before you come on you, blessings and cursing, a lot of that's happening right now, and you take them to heart wherever the Lord your God disperses you among the nations, because let's face it, that's the day we're in. That's the day we're in right now. It's a day where, like, you don't know where you fit. You don't know where you belong. You don't know if you're gonna make it. You have no clue. And when you and your children return to the Lord your God, and when you obey God, who just wants you to love and be kind and forgive, be charitable and have faith, and be strong in the face of adversity. You obey him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. Let me read this to you. According to everything I command you today, then the Lord your God will restore your house. It will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations that he scattered you. Lost tribes of Jacob. In the end, 2-minute warning. 2 minutes early. There's a pause in the game. It's at the end. God gathers everybody together. He offers everybody a chance. Are you going to be like the worker in the field who's been a good guy for a long time? Then you see somebody who's been wasting his life on riotous living, and you're going to be like, forget this dude. I've been doing this for so long. God's going to give everybody the same pay. It's time to enter in. It's time to trust God. It's time to love again. It's time for these liars to be exposed if they be corrupt. And it's time for you to put your trust in more. Not the well. Take the Christ sitting at the well. Bring it home with you. I promise you, you will get rivers of flowing water. You will get life, encouragement, inspiration, ideas to create thumbnails and put dates on them not knowing that those dates will then somehow make you look like you know that there's something going on. It's interesting. The Lord your God will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, so that you may love him with all your heart and with all your soul, and you will live. The Lord your God will put all of these curses on your enemies. I say this a lot lately. This is the year you're going to see so much corruption revealed. It's just going to get more and more and more and more. But don't get sucked into hate. Don't get sucked into bias or prejudice. You are more than you know, because I am more than I've been told. It's time for us to seek more. It's time for us to enter into that promised land where you don't got to worry what mandates are in the land. You will obey the Lord and you will follow his commands that I'm giving you. Then the Lord your God, listen to what God does, will make you prosperous in all your work. Then the Lord will make you so prosperous, the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, the crops of your land will flourish. If you obey the Lord your God and you keep God's commands and decrees that are written in the book of the law, and what is the law? Love God, love others. And turn to God with your heart, your whole heart and your soul. And that means if someone slaps you on the left cheek, you forgive them and you walk away. Someone takes your coat, you say, do you need my shoes? I don't think that's the way it was actually written, but if someone took my coat, I'd probably offer my shoes. I probably would. And so should you. When we do this, what's going to happen, people? This is the thing. If you obey the Lord your God and you keep his commands and decrees that are written in the book and you turn to God with all your heart and your soul, I'm commanding you today, it's not that difficult. It's not beyond your reach. This is written, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. It is not up to heaven that you have to ask, will I ascend to heaven? Will I go to heaven? Nor is it beyond the sea that you have to ask, will I cross the sea to get it and proclaim it? No, the word of God is very near to you. You don't got to wait for it. You don't got to look for it. You just got to ask for it. That's it. All your heart, all your soul. I set before you today, the Lord says, prosperity and life. But I also set before you death and destruction. What are you going to choose? I set before you life and prosperity, and I also set before you death and destruction. What are you going to choose? I command you today to love God, to love others, to walk in obedience, to keep his commands, his decrees, his laws. I command you, Moses is saying. Then you will live and you will have increase. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are going to enter into and possess. You don't have a house right now. You don't have a car. You don't have a job. You're addicted. You hate yourself. You think that you're nothing. You think you're worthless. If you love God, he will restore you. You will get a house. You will get that job. You will get off those drugs. You will finally feel like you mean something. Because you do. I've set before you life and prosperity, the Lord says, and also death and destruction. Stop choosing the liars. Stop choosing the death, the destruction. Love others, love God. It's not that hard. He wrote that. It's not beyond reach. You don't got to wait for it. You don't got to search for it. It's not that hard. It's in you. The word is near to you. You just haven't been told this. You don't got to go to church. You don't got to tithe. You don't got to even share my video around. You don't got to do any of that. I just want you to because it'll help me. But please, above all else, ask for the truth. Say, God, help me. And then put the right foot forward every day. And if you fall back, get right back up and do it again. Take every thought captive. But if your heart turns away, listen to this, and you're not obedient. This is verse 17. And if you are drawn away to bow down to their gods, and there are a lot of them, and they cause death and destruction, and you worship them, I declare to you this day, you will certainly be destroyed if you hate, if you are prejudiced, if you are a thief, and you don't care. If you've stolen and you feel bad, that's called repentance. Don't do it again. Jesus said this, and the Pharisees of the day, they had a problem with it. He says, you're healed. You are forgiven. I'm telling you, Jesus said it. I'm saying it to you. You're forgiven. Sin no more. Your past is gone. It's wiped clean. That's what God is laying out in front of you. Life, prosperity, death, destruction. What are you going to choose? This day I call the heavens and the earth as witness against you, that I've set before you, verse 19, life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life. Choose life so you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice. Hold fast to him, for the Lord is life, and he will give you many years in the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Trust me. That's what God's saying. Trust me. I love all of you. I got a little emotional. My life hasn't been easy. I'm so grateful for where I am. I'm so grateful for all of you. And I apologize if any of my zeets came across insensitive. They weren't meant for you. They were meant for the liars in the land. And there's so many of them. And I watch them prosper, and it just, man, it tears me up. But you all make me feel good. Even though I'm crying. I'm crying. What? This is an alert. It's time to break out the fart gun. It's time to break out the fart gun. All right, y'all. You know what to do. Just reading scripture, sometimes it really means a lot to me. It really hits me. That's powerful. It's powerful timing, Jim Jordan. We'll see what happens, right? Okay. I love y'all. I got to go. I got to go downstairs. The Dan, usually I make the dinner. Dan's making the dinner. I got to eat. I've gone on way too long. I love each and every one of y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.